Welcome to Pastor's Chat today. Well, today we're going to almost possibly finish Revelations 12. And what an interesting chapter this has been. Now, just for a second, want to review. Remember, it starts out with a sign in heaven, and it has to do with, we believe, Israel being the woman who is going to give birth to a male child, who, of course, is the Lord Jesus Christ. And as soon as this child is born, there's this other sign in verse 3, the fiery red dragon, who, of course, and he's named here, he's Satan, he's that serpent of old, he's the devil, he's the accuser, he's the slanderer of the brethren. He is the one who is waiting for the child to be born to destroy him. He's been trying to destroy the seed of the woman ever since God gave the promise that through the woman, a virgin, would come the Son of God, the Messiah. And Satan has always been against and opposing the Jewish people, and the anti-Semitism has been tremendous over the centuries, as you well know. And then war breaks out in heaven. We believe this is the middle of the tribulation. The accuser of the brethren, that's what he's called here, is accusing the brethren that are getting the judgment seat rewards. And then he's cast out of heaven because there's war in heaven. And Michael cast him out. This is his final being cast out of heaven. He has no more access to heaven after this. And it says then, there's a loud voice in heaven in verse 10. And there's just a word of rejoicing and praise as the saints of heaven see Satan cast down. Now salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ has come. For the accuser of our brethren, who accused them before our God day and night, has been cast down, and they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of their testimony, and they did not love their lives to the death. Therefore rejoice, O heavens, and you who dwell in them. And so we see rejoicing over Satan's being cast down to the ground. But then, so heaven rejoices, but earth has the last woe that is connected to the third woe we read back in Revelation 11. And here, woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil has come down to you having great wrath, because he knows that he has a short time. Now when the dragon saw that he had been cast to the earth, he persecuted the woman who gave birth to the male child. But the woman was given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness to her place, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the presence of the serpent. So the serpent spewed water out of his mouth like a flood after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away by the flood. But the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened its mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon had spewed out of his mouth. And the dragon was enraged with the woman, and he went to make war with the rest of her offspring, who keeps the commandment of God and of the testimony of Jesus Christ. And of course, this woman is Israel, as we said earlier. And so at this point in the middle of the tribulation, according to Daniel chapter 9, the AntiChrist, the beast, the devil, that serpent, he breaks his peace treaty with Israel. And when he breaks the peace treaty with Israel, he decides to destroy them. He is so enraged, he has but a short time, and so he takes his wrath out on Israel. And of course, they flee to a desert place where they are protected by God miraculously for times and half a time, which is exactly 3.5 years, as we had read earlier about the last 3.5 years of the tribulation. And so here they flee. Now, many of us, like myself, have been to a place called Petra, and over in Jordan, on the other side of the Dead Sea from Israel, and we believe this is possibly the place they might flee to. Dr. Harold Wilmington, a dear friend of ours that we went to Israel with several times, he actually would take Bibles and put them in the caves there, because he knows at the end of the tribulation there will be a national salvation for Israel. They are protected at this point, and now Satan, because he can't defeat Israel, he goes after her offspring. Now, who is that? That's the believers who are getting saved because of the testimony of those 144,000 Jews that have been protected also. Well, this is an exciting chapter. I trust that you'll read it through several more times because it's right here in the middle of tribulation, preparing for the last 3.5 years of the terrible woes and wrath of God that's poured out on the earth. God bless, and you have a wonderful, wonderful day.